everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for the Mayoral Forum for the candidates of the City of Dublin. I'm Susanna Wong-Ordway, the school board member, one of the school board members of San Ramon Valley Unified School District. Today, my role is actually as the president of the Asian Pacific Islander American Public Affairs Association of the Tri-Valley chapter. PAPA, I'm going to call it PAPA, that's a lot shorter than the long name. PAPA is a national nonprofit organization whose mission is to advance our communities with a special focus on Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities. We do that by advancing through leadership development and civic engagement opportunities like today's event. This public forum is co-hosted by the League of Women Voters of Alameda County. Both APAPA and the League of Women Voters are nonpartisan organizations, and our mutual goal is to provide non-biased, objective information to our communities and allow everyone to make informed voting decisions for themselves. It will be recorded, this forum, and made available to those who can't attend in person today. We're very fortunate and are honored to have Bill Clarkson, a very knowledgeable and experienced community and public service leader, as our moderator today. Bill has over 22 years in public service. He was former mayor of San Ramon, elected for the maximum 4 terms, and before that, a former school board member for San Ramon Valley Unified for 12 years. He's also been a part of the Tri-Valley community for over 4 decades and knows more about the history and changes to our region than anyone I know. So Bill, thank you for helping us out, and you take it away.
My pleasure. I want to thank everybody for attending and coming to this. Get a chance to meet our candidates for the mayor here in Dublin. A couple of housekeeping items for everybody. One is, and for those who were here before, I apologize for repeating myself. One is we ask that people not cheer or jeer during any of the comments. And the reason is we don't want people to feel intimidated or feel somehow unwelcomed in terms of the comments they're making. The other is that we're asking questions to get a general idea of the qualifications of the candidates, to find out what their guiding principles are and how they go about making decision making, what they think are important issues that are coming up, and also to a certain extent, how they feel about civic issues that are being confronting the city of Dublin. Keep in mind, although, is that if there are issues that are coming into the future for them, and those issues will be coming before them in a public meeting, they can't tell you now how they're going to vote. That's important for you to know, is that you'd want the public's participation and for them to hear public comment before they would decide how they're going to vote. So don't get frustrated if you don't hear how they're going to vote on a thing in the future, because until they hear from all of you in a public hearing, they should not decide in advance how they're going to vote, right? That's right, okay. We're going to start with a 2-minute introduction. They can get a chance to say whatever they want to. Then we're going to follow up with 5 questions. You're going to get a minute and a half each. They have graciously allowed Sean, because Sean asked for an extension of having 2 minutes to answer questions. They said absolutely, so Sean will be taking 2 minutes to answer his questions. We'll be going from the far left, and we'll rotate all the way through so everybody gets a chance to have the first question, or the question asked to them first. So with no further ado, I'm going to turn over here to Jenny. Sherry, I'm sorry, Sherry. Sherry, thank you, Sherry. To Sherry, and have her do her 2-minute introduction.
Are you going to turn this on for me? Okay, thank you. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our beautiful City Hall. I'm Sherry Hu. I'm the current Vice Mayor for the city, and it's wonderful to see so many beautiful faces here. Your presence means a lot to all of us, because that means you care. You care about the future of our Dublin, of our community, and I appreciate that. So I want to first excuse my accent. And I moved to the US when I was in my late 20s. And as you know, learning a new language as an adult has been challenging for everyone, many immigrants in our community as well. But we have embraced the challenge and worked really hard on this. So Dublin has been my home for the past 15 years. Both of my children grew up here, attending Cope Elementary School, Fannin Middle School, Dublin High, and Valley Christian schools. And like many of our families here, they thrive with the supporting environment. So about 4 years ago, I had the honor of being elected to the city council with the highest number of votes from our Dubliners in the city's history. And I take this trust and responsibility seriously, and always working hard to keep our city safe and maintain a balanced budget. And right now, we are so glad we have over $200 million in our reserves. And we also welcomed more than 100 businesses just in the past year, including grocery outlet, H Mart, and Tivoli Plaza. So professionally, I hold the PhD degree in architectural engineering and have experience as a professor, business owner, nonprofit founder. I've worked to solve real-world problems, and here we help to build the city a better place.
Thank you.
Thank you, APAPA and the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum today, and thank you for coming. My name is Jean Josie. I'm a 24-year resident of Dublin, and I'm currently Dublin's longest-serving council member, and I took my rotation as vice mayor in 2022. When I'm not doing city work, I work at Dublin High as the tutoring coordinator, managing a department of 14 professional tutors. I've been an active volunteer in this community for almost a quarter of a century, serving in leadership roles in our schools, our youth programs, and our service organizations. I am proud of the work we've done in City Council since 2018. We've made Dublin safer by adding 7 sworn police officers, a fully staffed behavioral health unit, and numerous technical upgrades. Through my policy committees, I've lobbied for laws that make us safer, such as the 11 new crime bills signed by the governor. That's why I am the only candidate endorsed by Alameda County Sheriff Yesenia Sanchez. We've improved Dublin's quality of life by opening 6 new parks and breaking ground on 3 more, updating our bicycling infrastructure, and creating the soon-to-open Cultural Arts Center. In addition, I've brought forth innovative ideas, including the current Dublin 26 Trail Challenge that is ongoing, increasing our emphasis on the cultural celebrations that are important to our growing and diverse community. We've budgeted conservatively and increased our hefty reserves to position Dublin for a prosperous future. I've been the leader on our council on data-driven decision-making and not incurring unnecessary expenditures. We worked very hard to give our businesses and our residents everything we could to help them weather the COVID storm and build a thriving future. Since 2022, hundreds of new businesses have opened here, and our retail vacancy rate is one of the lowest in the region. We've improved traffic, made housing more affordable, and made strides towards carbon neutrality and energy resilience. During meetings, I am often the council member who synthesizes various views to help us reach a decision. This is why residents and business owners alike trust that I have the experience and the knowledge to lead Dublin into the future. My relationships and endorsements citywide show that I will be the mayor for all of Dublin. I will set the tone that no matter which district a council member is elected from, we make decisions for the good of the entire city. I will help our council make decisions by consensus. I'm a proven leader for the entire Dublin community, and I would be proud to earn your vote as Dublin's next mayor.
Good evening, everyone, or afternoon. Thanks to APAPA and the League of Women Voters for hosting this event. I'm Tom Evans, and I want to help Dublin find a new path for its future. But first, I'd like to say, as important as the mayoral race is locally, it's worth remembering and keeping in perspective how fortunate we all are that we live in a free country and we're not experiencing the atrocities of war like we see around the world. I give a sincere thanks to our men and women in uniform and all those who act in our defense, including our own first responders here in Dublin. The path that I have for Dublin is not complete. It requires us to pause and look around at what we've created. Charting a path will require a lot of planning that looks at the long term as much as the near future. But I won't add to the go big at any cost theme. My vision for Dublin is a welcoming city that appreciates diverse and talented population. A Dublin that has more affordable for sale inclusionary housing so young families can make a down payment on their future. No more unnecessary Belarus tax, property tax. A city that can pivot to adjust to the large growth that we've had as well as the coming growth that's already been approved. I want to have a city that advocates for its schools instead of wrestling with them. Our city needs to do a better job of communication with residents about what's coming and what we're spending money on. We need to reach out further. Why can't we communicate with people where they are instead of expecting them to wade through a website once a month to see if there's something they should be aware of? Thank you.
Sean, we're going to give you 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, can you hear me?
Yes, Sean.
Okay. My name is Chuck Castillo. This is my 18th election. I have been in Dublin for 40 years this year. I took out my papers, I filed it in 1984. That was my first try. I tried it in all the other years, got on the ballot in 88. I have been in politics, not exactly been in it, but I've been trying. And I've been trying for the disabled so they can have a voice in our city. And to have other people with other disabilities to have a fair shake at an election also. That's what I pride myself in showing other people that they can do it too. Now, my accomplishments, I have been on the several boards. I couldn't name them all in 2 minutes, but I thank you for letting me be a part of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sean. Gene, you're going to get the first question. And then we're going to go around this way. A more general sort of question, which is I want you to talk about your views on leadership. And by that is, for you to accomplish anything on city council, you need to get 3 votes. People talk about consensus building. Tell us specifically, what are the sort of things you will do to build a consensus of getting at least 3 votes on your council, and what does that involve doing?
Yeah, that's a great question. My approach is collaborative. I reach out to community members and other council members alike. I think usually when an item comes to us, it's often something that's been talked about more than once. So we have an idea of where our planning commission sits, where our other council members sit, but also I spend a lot of time talking to residents in the community about how they feel, what they think about an issue, and making sure that that I reach out and understand the full issue. As far as working with other council members and being collaborative there, I often try to work with somebody who doesn't necessarily agree with me in order to get to 3 votes. You can only talk to one other council member before you have a Brown Act violation, and so I'm very, very cognizant of those rules. And so if I know that generally I'm aligned with another council member because our views are similar, I will often reach out to a council member that I don't think might be aligned with me to talk about how they feel about an issue and kick the idea back and forth to see if we can come to consensus on something. I believe that everybody who sits on our council does so because they want the best for Dublin. We might not always agree what that is, but I always assume the best of intentions of all of my colleagues and all of the people that disagree with me within the city as well. I don't know that that I've encountered a lot of people like that, but I want to debate issues and not people, and that's, I think, the best way to come to consensus is to just talk it over. I'm always open to the idea that my view is wrong, so I come to it genuinely listening to other people's thoughts on any given issue and building consensus that way, because at the end of the day, I'm just one of 5.
I'd like to start with proper conduct. I don't see any issues there. The council I've always seen has been good in that respect. Respecting residents' opinion, I think, is a big deal, but you can also draw on experts. You want to do your homework, but you want to make sure that the experts that you bring in, if you decide to do that, are not ones that just automatically agree with you, but have a clear picture of what's going on. And when you do talk to your fellow council members, you want to listen to understand, not just listen until they're done and then it's your turn. I'm not an extremist. I believe in compromise. I tend to, I try to be toward the middle. So I would hope that others would follow that and be willing to compromise.
Yes, to get 3 people on my side for the votes, if I was the mayor, I would, as I'm doing here, I give everybody respect for each council person. I don't put anybody down for their votes. I don't hate anybody for their votes. I am likely to go out and find people of the city and have them go to the city council meetings and voice their opinions. And if they all agree with what I have to say, that's great. If they don't, that's great too. We're all a person of all people together, not just one person and one person alone. We're all in here together in this room right now, so that we are all knowing what we're all gonna do together for the city. Thank you.
Thank you. So, I would just say we need to first use our eyes to see, which means we need to read the information, do analysis, make sure we understand the situations. I would say we have a council meeting packet over 1,000 pages. It's not uncommon. And takes our long time to really understand what's going on, the technical issues or it's different questions. Second thing is listen, and listen to the our community members, and also listen to our city staff because they have spent a lot of time doing research. They have the way to tell you what's going on. And also we need to listen to the stakeholders who's involved in these issues, what's their opinions, but always understand they are saying something from their own perspective. Then we need to think, use our brain, because we heard all the voices. We actually, all the people tell us contradictory opinions about same issues. So it's upon us to use our analytical skills, problem-solving skills to really understand what's going on and come up with a good solution, win-win-win solution for everybody. That will be the best. And last thing is talk in the council meetings and trying to reach consensus with our council members. And the voting is the result. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom, very good. Next question. The most contentious issue that any city is usually confronted with is land use. Land use and housing. The state has passed a whole series of laws which dictate, in many ways, take control away from a city's ability to manage a city the way they want to. Describe to us your vision of the city, how you'd like to see housing built out, what laws in particular are most challenging, and what are you going to do to get around it? You only got 30 seconds, a minute, 30 seconds.
To fix the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know that the state of California has passed down quite a number of laws that have made housing issue difficult for cities. RENA being one of them, they basically tell you, you have to build this many houses. Another one is the reduced parking that we have around transit areas. That is a difficult one to deal with. So there's not a lot you can do about some of these laws, but you can, for example, you can resist upzoning, at least for the next 7 years in this cycle, because we already have enough RENA numbers already. I guess we want to look at the types of developments that developers bring to us and make sure that they fit in with the style that Dublin is, and so it's not just like way up there. That's,
Thank you.
This is my biggest pet peeve that I have in Dublin. The one that is across the street from me is the boulevard. And the boulevard is our biggest project that we have in the whole city of Dublin. They're still building after 7 years of building it. They're still going. And they will not stop. And you got 7 people, 7 houses per building, and you got at least 300 buildings out there. And I've driven it through there in the wheelchair, around, and it is just massive. And so my thing is that we need to, we're gonna build for the disabled, we're gonna build for the low income, because they are being left out. They're being left out totally. I try to move around in Dublin. I can't move out of my building if I wanted to, because of these people. They want more money for each of these projects, and they're not letting us have our way.
Sherry.
Thank you. So, the fact that everybody already say, our Dublin is the fastest growing city for many, many years. Our population has doubled from 2000 to 2010, and doubled again from 2010 to 2020. And with that said, many of us moved here actually during these 2 decades of time. And one way we benefited from the faster growing city, and we have beautiful parks and beautiful schools, and we enjoy life here. But on the other hand, we do have a growing pain. And my students, like my kids, say the portable classrooms, we worry about they didn't get a chance to have a lunch during the break. So I talked to many, many residents. I heard many people raise their concerns about overdevelopment. So I want to say, I keep that in mind when I became city council for the past 4 years. And after I became council, I know we have to comply with the state laws, but we also know we want to take care of our infrastructure, take care of our existing residents. So since I became council, I have never approved any additional homes that we do not have to build. And all the things are basic minimum required by the state law. So here I want to say again, I listen to the residents. We understand your concerns. We'll work on this.
Thank you. Every time I approach a housing decision, I look at what's best for Dublin, and then what the state laws are, and then within that framework, make decisions based on Dublin's needs. I voted against rezoning open space for housing, and I voted yes on housing where it was either required by law or helped us achieve our economic development goals. Housing laws have grown increasingly restricted over the years. In fact, just this week, 32 new housing bills were signed into law, particularly around development around BART stations, within half-mile of BART stations, which we have. No net loss laws have played a big part in Dublin, as what did SB 50 in 2006, which made us not allowed to consider the impacts on schools. My main focus has remained on complying with state law while producing the kinds of housing that has lowered impacts on our schools, our traffic, our water infrastructure, but provided much needed affordable housing. We talk a lot still about the impacts on our school district, but the reality is schools are now predicted declining enrollment starting in 26-27. The huge wave of school children that was produced in Dublin's huge decade of growth has crested. In the past 10 years, we've graduated something like 7,000 children from Dublin High. I don't want the only option for our young people to be living with their parents or moving out of Dublin. I'm focused on producing the housing that keeps us compliant with state law and also stratifies our housing stock. I've pushed for more entry-level homes like those coming on Tasahara, so our teachers, police officers, firefighters, and young professionals have a place that they can live. More affordable housing for the same reason, and I would like a senior development for our seniors who want to downsize from their 2- and 3-story homes.
We can't stop housing.
All right, Sean, this question comes to you. Surveys that cities take almost always the first and foremost priority for residents is public safety. And one of the biggest struggles that every city has is with their budget and how they prioritize spending the money. How do you feel about the current funding of public safety in Dublin? What changes specifically would you make, if any, in the current level of public safety funding?
Well, on my, when I put my 200 words of my cafe statement, I put down there on the bottom, every time I am for the first three responders totally. I am here for the protection of the police, the fire, and the ambulance people, and other people that are important for our safety. It is very important to me that they all know that as the next mayor, I am going to fight to increase more firefighters, more police, if we need it, more bays for the ambulance people, and we need to really respect our firefighters and our police and our ambulance people so they do not get hurt on the job of anything against them. Thank you.
Thank you. So public safety is my #1 priorities. And we want to make sure we live in a safe place. That's fundamental for our quality of life and also fundamental to the business owners to have their good business. And although Dublin has been safe for these years, but as you can see, our surrounding cities like Oakland or bigger cities, San Francisco, all have safety issues. So we need to have a proper vigilance, make sure we have enough police, enough budget, enough support, technologies to support their work. And I am very proud to be the only candidate endorsed by both Deputy Sheriff's Association and Firefighters Local 55 Association, which is hard to earn and also showed their trust in me, in my leadership, to lead the Dublin into a safe and provide best services to all of you.
Thank you. Public safety is always a top priority. I have always ensured, and I will continue to ensure, that as Dublin grows, we continue to budget for additional officers. We've added 7 sworn officers since I've been on council, but it isn't enough to budget for additional officers. We need the right people responding to each type of call. I'm committed to the Dublin Police Services Behavioral Health Unit as well. Having clinicians integrated into our police department makes our city safer. I serve on the public safety policy committees for both the California League of Cities and the National League of Cities. And through this committee work, I've been able to learn about best practices, but also advocate for legislative reform, like the 11 crime bills that were passed this year. I will always budget based on Dublin data, not a one-size-fits-all metric, or rely on advice from a local gun dealer whose entire business model depends on fear. Property crimes have been on the rise all over the state, and I'm committed to giving Dublin police the resources they need to keep our residents and businesses safe. I'm committed to Prop 47 reform to ensure that when police do their jobs, so do prosecutors. I'm able to help shape solutions based on my policy committee work that is not just railing against what we all know is broken. In Dublin, we've taken a proactive approach to preventing crime by installing dozens of situational awareness cameras and license plate readers throughout the city, and I'll continue to keep Dublin plugged into new technologies while always working to safeguard the data to prevent abuse and misuse. Public safety isn't just policing. With our changing environment, we also need to make sure that we have adequate resources and coverage from our firefighters and our EMTs. There's nothing scarier than a grass fire approaching Dublin homes, and I will continue to work on our mutual aid agreements and to make sure that Dublin-based personnel prioritize Dublin.
Public safety is typically the #1 priority for almost everybody, and it is mine too. But it's not always the #1 issue, and I think that's because our public safety and first responders have been working out pretty well. We're lucky to have Alameda County supply us for both the police protection and fire protection, because it allows us to use a lot of different, or allows us access to many different tools to do their job, whereas if one city was trying to get all of those things together, it's going to cost them more. I think that we may be a little bit light on sworn officers. The old rule of thumb is 1 sworn officer for every 1,000 people. We've got about 73,000 people in Dublin, and we've got about 62 sworn officers. So I think that we could have a few more. And as far as the budget's concerned, first of all, it's a worthwhile spend. But if you were trying to look for ways to cut out of other things, I mean, you could spend less on certain big ticket projects, like maybe the Dublin Boulevard extension.
One of the biggest frustrations, aside from housing, the cities are confronted with is traffic. The irony is that a successful city, which has a strong retail base and has strong jobs, will have lots of traffic. We all want a successful city. Cities that lose jobs, lose retail, have less traffic. So what are you going to do to balance the issues of having a successful city with lots of jobs, lots of retail? What projects, how are you going to mitigate your traffic, balance those two imperatives together? And that starts with you, Sherry.
How to balance traffic with the jobs? That's a very good question. So as we grow very fast in the past, so we start to have traffic congestions and environmental concerns of those issues. But at the same time, our business are thriving. So these are a little bit of competing factors. So make a right balance is the most important things. As we talk about how to look for the future for our Dublin, so we do have economic development zone in the east side of the Fallon Road that will create the life science, the technologies, AI companies, research centers, advanced manufacturing. So by bringing those high, like rich job industries, that will help to bring the jobs and the business and revenue to our Dublin. And also that place are close to the highway and more convenient to the transportation. That's one smart way to handle the balance of the traffic and the job-rich issues. And there's downtown, there's other shopping centers. So I want to reiterate, when we build them, we have to make sure we do not overdevelopment. We need to plan well. We need to make sure we consider traffic, consider the parking, make sure it's well built.
Thank you. Yeah, traffic and development often go hand in hand, but it seems a little bit ironic, but sometimes development actually lessens traffic. And I'll talk about that in a second, but some of the things that we have already done have made traffic in Dublin better since I've been on council. Every year we're running fiber to more of our signals to make them adaptive, and some of the final pieces of the East Dublin specific plan that are under construction now will actually help our traffic. It sounds funny, but 500 new homes, it sounds like it will bring a lot of traffic, but reality is these homes represent a tiny fraction of the number of homes in East Dublin. And as these developments come online, they complete the planned streets that help alleviate some of the congestion. The Croak Road opening will significantly help residents of Positano and Jordan Ranch to reach 580 without going down Positano Road and Fallon Parkway, Fallon Road. Already, the connections through the Boulevard neighborhood on Horizon Parkway have helped avoid Dublin Boulevard when traveling between East and West Dublin. There's now at least 4 separate ways to get from East Dublin to Dublin High, for example, in the morning, and only one of them includes traveling on Dublin Boulevard. In the past 2 years, in the next 2 years, when all of 4 years of high classes are at Emerald, Wheels will be able to revamp their routes and hopefully do a better job of serving all of Dublin and get some people out of cars and onto mass transit. In addition, we're building out our bicycle infrastructure with state and federal grants, and I continue to push Alameda County and Caltrans to upgrade the Fallon 580, 680.
Well, balancing traffic or reducing traffic in Dublin is a pretty tall order because Dublin Boulevard is pretty much the only road that goes from east to west. So if you want to go from one to the other, you're on Dublin Boulevard. Bringing good jobs to Dublin is one way of reducing the amount of vehicles that get on the freeway. So if some of that traffic is contained within Dublin, and particularly if they're on the same side of Dublin, that will help some. There is some technology that uses Google Maps and such to kind of look at traffic. I think they've used it in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but it can only really improve, you're working in the margins, in other words, not just a few percent. The Dublin Boulevard extension is actually something that causes me some concern because I think it will increase the traffic in Dublin. As people try to get off the freeway to go down Dublin Boulevard, that's not going to be a pretty sight. So how we extend Dublin Boulevard is going to be key there. Maybe we want to keep it only 4 lanes instead of 6 lanes, and maybe we want to have some intersection control, and we need much better public transit. I'm out of time here.
Yeah, this is another sore spot with me, because I'm out there, ideally with traffic, with my wheelchair. I have to give them all the right of way so that I don't get hit in my wheelchair. And that's the thing about what I've been saying for 40 years, is that we need to slow down and not fly all over the tarnation just to get somewhere and run over people while you're doing it. That being said, our traffic problems are because we don't have the certain streets made to go down certain roads to make it easier, like to get on Doherty Road from Dublin Boulevard. You need, where they're making the big bridge there, they need to extend that street to go along the Irish Trail to make it more feasible for people to go right onto Dublin Boulevard, but before the stoplight down a mile down the road, and you've got the bigger problems. And so I say we need to slow down.
This is our last question, and then we'll start with the question, and Tom, you're going to do closing arguments. So okay, just in advance. Without looking at your notes, I want you guys to tell the audience, why it will make a difference that you're in the mayor's seat, and what you want to accomplish that you haven't yet talked about yet. So why will it make a difference that you're in that mayor's seat? What do you want to accomplish that you haven't talked about yet?
This is a great question. It makes a difference who's in the mayor's seat. My leadership, my knowledge, my experience are what we need in Dublin right now. I'm hoping that the answers that you've seen today really point to the depth of experience that I have and the depth of knowledge that I have. I believe that I'm the only one of us at the dais who has extensive experience chairing committees. I have relationships across the Tri-Valley, across Dublin, all sides of Dublin. My work with the school district is important. I've been a 10-year employee of the Dublin School District, and as budgets are lean, we will need to be working closer and closer with the school district to make sure that all of our youngest residents have what they need. But also I have the respect of our colleagues in other cities around the Bay, and we need to be working collaboratively for things like business development in the Tri-Valley region, with Innovation Tri-Valley and with Visit Tri-Valley, to make sure that all of our cities thrive with economic development and good high-paying jobs here. I know how to chair a meeting. I know how to make the proper appointments to committees and commissioners so that we get all pockets of Dublin represented, so that we have robust bench of future council members as we transition to my districts. I have tremendous chairmanship experience, not only at regional committees since I've been on council, but also long before I was ever on council, with chairing school site committees and parent faculty clubs and large events, and also in my work long before I ever moved to Dublin. I am the most experienced and qualified candidate. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess the things that I would strive for as mayor, number one would be transparency. It seems like we have all of these projects going on, and I've heard the council complain that, well, the public doesn't come here until the last minute when everything's done. Well, that's because the residents don't know about it. We should have transparency. We should be reaching out to Dublin and giving them information where they're at. In other words, you shouldn't have to go and, well, gee, is there anything going on in Dublin that I need to know about? You should know about it. But we don't. Most of us have emails. We have phones. You know, the city could find a way to get that information out. And the other item is schools. I really would like to get along better with the schools. Right now, it's not working out real well. And I would make the first move. I would say, look, we've got to get along. We've got to help each other instead of wrestling.
I've been saying for the last 40 years that the city council and because I've been running not only for the city council, but I also ran for mayor several times, and when I add up them all together, that's how I got up with the number that I've been running for office. I'm doing it because I care about this city. I care about the circumstances that we're in, and I want to make sure that everybody knows that I'm on the same page as they are. And I have been on the Human Services Commission. This is for 6 years. I chaired it a couple of times. I was the vice chair for 2 of those times, and I know how to run a meeting. I'm the chairperson for Wheels right now. That's a big step for me. It's my second time that I got to do that. I help with the bus companies in Oakland. I've been on there for 20 years with the Major B money and the VB money, and I know what it is like to do budgets for our city. Thank you.
So I believe I'm the best candidate for mayor because I'm a proven leader with a real experience in the areas that matter to our community. As an entrepreneur, I have built and scaled thriving businesses and creating jobs for a dozen people. And while my credentials in finance and extensive experience equip me to manage and improve our city's physical health, and also as a former assistant professor and as a co-founder for a nonprofit organization helping students with their leadership development, I've dedicated to advancing education and help our youth to become next leader. I've worked with environmental protection nonprofit organizations as a green building director and actively protecting our open space and preserving our natural beauty of the city. So while others may talk about improving business, education, and the environment, and proven leaders, but I believe that those experiences and delivered solid results. I'm the candidate with the with the proven track record. So with that said, I would like to ask all of you to work together to make our Dublin a safer and a more prosperous place.
Okay, John, why don't you bring us home?
Okay. So I want to again thank the Papa and the League of Women Voters for hosting a great event, and this is a public service. I've had strong feelings on some issues in Dublin for years now, and I kept hoping that another candidate would step up and provide a real choice. A departure from what we've seen in the last 6 to 8 years. After waiting many months, I knew that by July that I had to step up if I wanted Dublin to have a chance for some different choices. I think all the candidates here are big on public safety, but beyond that, the choice is pretty clear. You can choose experience and it'll keep us on the same path that we're on, or you can choose my vision to pivot and try to make better choices, stop changing zoning that increases housing density, and make city decisions that help students and their families. I value maintaining all of the land between Dublin and Livermore as open space. The City Council voted to put a measure on the ballot to change that, and I believe that the tricky language used was done to fool the voters. I value decisions that make our schools better. Our recent councils have had years of opportunity to make helpful decisions for schools, but we don't see much of that. In fact, I think maybe our relationship is at an all-time low. I value affordable for sale housing instead of trading that housing away for land parcels. Unlike what our recent councils have done, I will resist changing the zoning to increase the number of residential units. If you value what I value, then I ask you to vote for Tom Evans for mayor on November 5th. Thank you.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, as I said before, that I am dedicated to this job. You give me a job as mayor, I'm gonna be here. I'm not gonna be at another job except for Chuck E. Cheese. I work at Chuck E. Cheese and that's my 1 day a week job. Being mayor, I can give you 100% of my time here. I'll give you office hours. You can come in, you can talk to me, you can talk about all the problems. I'm here for the people, not just the corporations that want to come in and build their big high rises and their way high priced houses and stuff. I want to lower the density of our housing because we are getting way overboard with our building, and not gonna stop. I mean, just, you can go down any street basically in Dublin Boulevard and see building, 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 building. And there's no ending. I wanna see that the voice of the people be heard to stop. Thank you.
Sure.
So before we wrap up, I want to sincerely thank all of you for being here today. And you carry so much about our future of the community. And I also want to extend my gratitude to APAPA and League of Women and also my fellow candidates. So actions speak louder than words. Over the years, I've shown my commitment to this community through tangible results, whether it's improving public safety, supporting local businesses, enhancing parks and the community programs. I'm honored to have earned the endorsement of both Deputy Sheriff's Association and Alameda County Firefighter, two of the most trusted organizations in our community. So I'm running for the mayor because I care about our city and I want to ensure its bright future. And now, I may not be the most polished English speaker here, but like in words, I will make up for in action. So also my international background and understanding of our diverse demographics enable me to represent all members of our community effectively. I lead with integrity, humility, and a serving attitude. And while, as we say, other people may just talk about their leadership and business, jobs, and education, and how to help with the environment. I've lived these experiences and delivered real results. And I am the candidate with the proven record. So we just thank all of you again, and let's work together, make our community a better place. Thank you.
I want to thank our hosts again for having us today, but mostly I want to thank you for taking the time to come and hear each of us so that you can make an informed choice. I also encourage you to watch a council meeting or two to see us in action, 2 of us on the dais and 2 of us in public comment. This job is more than photo ops and Photoshop. Certainly the most visible part of being a mayor is as the city's spokesperson at public events. Each person here could handle that duty, no problem. Beyond the ceremonial, however, is real work. In my 6 years on council, I have taken this job seriously. I have learned state laws, joined policy committees, and attended numerous trainings. I have forged relationships with our residents, our business owners, and the nonprofits that deliver our social services. I am collaborative. I have created a network of other council members and mayors whom I can call for advice. I have the respect of our partners in the Tri-Valley, and I've represented Dublin faithfully and completely on my regional committees, showing up on time and not missing votes. When I'm at the dais, the meeting has my undivided attention. While others may be texting, sending emails, or doing personal work, I am fully engaged, listening to the public and our staff. I prepare for each meeting by reading every agenda packet cover to cover and researching to ensure that I understand all sides of an issue. We are one Dublin. As your mayor, I will listen to you and be accessible to you. I will make sure we have balanced perspectives, diverse voices, and all pockets of Dublin are represented. Dublin needs an experienced and a knowledgeable mayor. This is not the time for a mayor to be learning on the job. Or I will never stoke fear, pander, or spread misinformation. I'm endorsed by a wide coalition of elected leaders, community members, and organizations. Please visit my website, jeanjosie.com, for a complete list. But some of them are Congressman Swalwell, our 2 assembly members, our Alameda County Sheriff, planning commissioners, Tri-Valley neighbors, and the Alameda County Democratic Party. Those endorsers know that I am the ethical candidate with the knowledge, the experience, and the leadership skills to be the mayor who delivers for you. Thank you very much for your time and your vote.
I want to thank all the candidates for their excellent presentations. It takes, as I mentioned before, or during the Dublin, it takes a unique individual who will go through the vigor and the process of running for office. It's not easy. It can take a huge toll on your families, on your businesses, personal lives, of course. And so it's our way, all of us, to tell each one of you how much we appreciate the time you're taking to run for office. No matter how it works out. I'm sure each of you will continue to play a huge role in Dublin's future, so thank you very much. Now, also, I think you've all agreed, will you stick around for a few minutes if people have individual questions for you?
Absolutely.
Okay, good, we'll all stay. Susanna, do you want to make any closing comments?
Yeah, just in closing, thank you so much for coming out. I want to thank, of course, Bill Clarkson, our moderator, and then also our four candidates for Dublin. And like I think said that they're generously going to stay around, so for individual questions. We have recorded this session, so it will be made available for public, for those who can't be here. But also, if you'd like more information about APAPA and our future events, future opportunities, please make sure that we get your name and email address outside. So thank you again for joining us this afternoon.